Hi guys, today I'm going to talk a little bit about some more things that you can do to heal from relationships with toxic psychological abusers, narcissists, psychopaths, sociopaths. Um, when you get out of these relationships, you may be in a state of trauma. A lot of the people that come out of these have what's considered complex PTSD. You may be saying to yourself, this is like not a normal breakup. And it's very true. If narcissists in general do not provide closure, they do not provide honest communication, they do not provide an explanation, which is all sort of to be expected in the disintegration of a normal relationship. Also, you might not have had any forewarning. You may have gone from this person who was, if they're covert, they may have presented to have like a really nice person mask. You may have, what you see is what you get. You may have believed that. So when you experience the discard, usually that mask comes off and an entirely different person emerges, and you don't even know who they are. It could be that they were pretty affable, they seem nice, they seem decent for a long time, and then all of a sudden ice cold, stonewalling, silent treatment, gaslighting, manipulation. You start seeing like the real person that's behind there, and it can be very disconcerting. Again, cognitive dissonance, I know I've talked about that a lot, but that is what you may be experiencing. And it's hard because in a normal relationship, people sit down, they talk about it, they have some closure, they understand there was some forewarning. These can be very often not present in the relationship or the breakup with a narcissist. So one thing that you're going to have to do for yourself is you're going to have to provide your own closure. And that can be very difficult, but one step towards doing that is to go no contact. When you go no contact, that is where you block them on social media, you block them on the phone, email, text messaging, all of it. That may be difficult if you are trying to remove yourself if you have to go through divorce or if you have children or custody, but you can require that all communication be strictly between attorneys. There's ways that you can sort of go gray rock or mitigate or minimize the contact with the narcissist. So that's one way, is to go no contact. And to understand this, when you're trying to communicate with them, often what you're doing is you're trying to get some sort of closure or explanation, but you're going to somebody for empathy and compassion who has none. And it's not that they don't have any just for you, they don't have any. So you're going to the dry well for water. You're going to the hardware store for a loaf of bread. So it may benefit you to say to yourself, I will no longer go to someone for empathy who has none. I will no longer go to someone for compassion where it is not available. These are some mantras that may be very helpful for you. I actually borrowed it from Richard Grannon. I will no longer go to someone for empathy who has none. So stop going to the narcissist for anything that you need, because they never were able to provide it. Really, if you look back, you look at the relationship and you'll realize that there was a emotional starvation in the relationship. No matter how nice they presented, there was a lack of emotional intimacy and starvation. So you're going to somebody who has something that they can't provide. They can't provide it to you. And it's not, again, it's not personal. They don't have it for anyone. So don't expect it. So stop going to them for anything. Don't go to them for anything you need, except for obviously the legal issues that need to be worked out in court. But don't go to them for empathy, for compassion, for closure, for honest communication, for authenticity, for reciprocity, for proper, sincere, communication. These are people that in general never had that to begin with in the whole relationship with you. And when you get away through no contact, you will start recognizing that. So no contact, you need to go no contact. That is one way to heal. You can install an app on your phone. I installed one called Habitable, and I started counting my days of no contact. And there were a few times in that process where I sort of relapsed, and I went to him for some, closure and explanation. And of course, you did not provide that. So it's okay if you have like a slip. Just keep counting your days. You don't need to go back to square one. Just keep counting your days and congratulate yourself for every day that you go no contact. And eventually it becomes normal for you. I have had no contact for almost, I don't know how long, almost a year. And I have no desire to ever communicate with that person again. There's nothing there. It's going to the dry well for water. It's going to somebody for empathy who has none. It's going to the hardware store for a loaf of bread, which I don't do anymore. So go, do the no contact one day at a time, and you are going to start getting some clarity. You will start recognizing that you are in a psychologically, possibly verbally or emotionally, sometimes physically abusive relationship, and you do not need to stay in that. You deserve love. You are worthy. Your childhood wounding, your attachment issues, your abandonment issues, may have allowed you to stay in that position or put you in that position unknowingly, because you may be somebody, it's likely you could be a very empathetic person. You could also be somebody who has codependency issues. Not everyone who's with a narcissist has codependency, but certainly some people do, where they want to fix everyone and care for everyone, and they only see the good in others and they don't see the red flags. I heard this saying, if you look down the path with rose-colored glasses, the red flags just look like flags. So that's something to be aware of. So start healing. No contact. Get a therapist who specializes in narcissistic or toxic relationships with sex addicts, narcissists, porn addicts, psychopaths, sociopaths, abusers. Get a good therapist who understands the nuances of healing from narcissistic abuse. EMDR is a very helpful form of therapy. You could try transcranial magnetic stimulation if you have symptoms of complex PTSD. That's TIMS. It's very, very helpful. I found it quite helpful. There's some great books out there on how to heal. There's great books on understanding these cluster B disorders. I probably read 20 books. There's amazing books to The Covert Passive Aggressive Narcissist is a great one. Psychopath Free is a great book. Whole Again by Jackson McKenzie, it's a great book. The Malignant Self-Love by Sam Vaknin is really good. Educate yourself. Educate yourself on narcissism. Understand what it is. What is narcissism? What is cluster B? There are some really great coaches out there. I would say get a narcissistic abuse coach if you can. Richard Grannon has some great YouTube videos. Queen Bee, she has some good YouTube videos. Ross Rosenberg, psychologist specializing in self-love deficit disorder, as well as narcissistic personality disorder. He is excellent. I love Ross Rosenberg. He wrote a book called The Human Magnet Syndrome. That one's quite excellent. Educate yourself. Go no contact. Get a therapist. Start doing your work. Start looking at your own attachment issues. Surround yourself by a group of loving people, safe people, kind people, good friends. Start exercising. Use your support group. 12-Step Recovery may help you. There's Codependence Anonymous. There is Al-Anon. There is SLAA, Sex Love Addicts Anonymous. There are many great 12-step recovery groups. If you have a substance abuse use disorder, there's AA, NA, all of these different 12-step recovery for that. A lot of times people in these relationships will, the victims will cope, self-medicate with alcohol and drugs. Start doing the work on yourself to heal and to empower yourself, to love yourself, and to accept that you are a beautiful, amazing, loving creature, and you are worthy. You deserve love. You deserve respect. You deserve reciprocity. You deserve kindness. You deserve emotional and physical intimacy. You deserve all of these beautiful things. You deserve somebody who's curious about you. And you can never make the narcissist into that somebody. But there are people out there who are willing and available and open-hearted and ready for a deeply connected, emotionally available, rich and healthy relationship. So please do your work love yourself. Meditation, Epsom salt baths are awesome. And just start your healing journey, and just know that if you do the work and you really start to value yourself as a human being and see how freaking gorgeous and amazing you are, if you start doing that, then you will not allow yourself to be in a relationship with another manipulator. You just won't. You'll start seeing the red flags. You will develop discernment. One last thing to note for me, prayer and meditation have been very helpful. I believe in God. I believe in a higher power. God has carried me through the most difficult life events and really turned me into a warrior. And I'm not a warrior by myself. I am only a warrior because I have God's grace and strength, and I have loving, amazing, connected relationships, and I have this amazing support group of for me, I found it in 12-step recovery from alcohol addiction, and I have these deeply connected, beautiful people in my life who have been there to pick me up when I can't get off the ground. So I hope that you have a beautiful day. The sun is coming up, and I am grateful and thankful to be alive today. Bye-bye.